Hey everyone, and welcome back to MUS 260. We are going to be going into another week of where we are looking at how to integrate music into your core curriculum subjects. Today we're going to take more of a history or social studies approach to how to integrate music, and we're going to be looking at how we look at multiculturalism and music together, and they really do go hand in hand. So this week that is what we're going to be looking at. All right, so let's talk about what is expected in this week. Of course, like always, we have this YouTube lecture that you are currently watching. So as long as you complete this, you're good to go there. There is also a video that I'm asking you to watch. It's on a multicultural classroom and how they incorporate music. And after you watch that, you would want to take the quiz that goes with that. Then we have your big assignment. Now, I don't have an article and a quiz on an article for you to do this week because our cultural holiday presentation is going to be a little bit on the larger side. It's worth 50 points and it is going to take a little bit more time from you. So what you are going to do is put together a presentation on a holiday from another culture, not a Western American culture, but another culture. And I'll get into the details a little bit later in this video here, but do know that that is going to be a little bit bigger of an assignment. So please make sure you give yourself plenty of time to complete this and not wait until Thursday. The other thing we want to make sure you're doing every week is that you are finding that YouTube video link and going over your 4 new lines, and the next week you will be tested on it. I will pick one of the 4 lines for you to play for me the following week. Remember, all recorder quizzes are going to be due every night at midnight, Fridays, I should say, every Friday at midnight. You're going to record yourself and upload. We've been doing this for several weeks. It should be easy peasy. Do note that your holiday presentation will be due on Thursday night, and that will give you all day Friday to make your 5 comments. When you learn about another culture and see why others do the things that they do, it's easier to understand them. You can always develop sympathy with others. It's harder to justify things like hatred and war when you understand where another person is coming from. And so when we are looking at other cultures, we want to look at what they do with music, how they use it. It gives us plenty of ways to understand why the culture is the way it is. And so we're looking at the purposes of music within a society or within a culture. So basically with music, it does lots of things for a culture. It's going to provide identity, and that's really probably one of the biggest things that it does. It gives that culture or that society an opportunity to tell others who they were or who they are. And just like it does for you, you probably have music that you identify with, and it helps tell your story as well. Music is also used in other cultures and societies as a ritual function. And usually this is in the context of a religious type of purpose. And so you probably are familiar with this. When you go to church, you probably sing certain music, or you use music in certain ways that you are doing, you're practicing your religion. It's a little different in necessarily our culture than it would be, say, in a Native American type of culture. Where they would use music to dance around a fire and sing, and they were asking their gods to provide water for them or provide them the ability to have a good hunt the next day. So there's different ways to use music in a ritual type function. It also helps to share the past and share history, and so there's lots of different ways that music is used to tell stories, and it's passed down from generation to generation. There's lots of story songs out there, and in fact, I could give you a million examples of different songs that we have learned throughout the ages that we still sing today. A lot of our nursery rhymes are a part of that as well, but it's going to share history and what the society was like or what that culture was like. Music is an expressive language of culture. It often tells a story, it expresses emotion, or it shares ideas with society. So every culture in the world has its own form of music that is both enjoyed by all ages and it's on every continent. Although each culture is different, music unifies all races and has been used throughout history for different occasions and for enjoyment purposes. And so there's 7 reasons why music is very important to world cultures, and we're going to go over those right now. The first one is it makes it easy to celebrate. So music is played at every type of celebration. This includes weddings, graduations, birthday parties. It's a way to have fun, and it's a way to just let out our joy or our excitement. And so a lot of times, just by seeing the way people celebrate and how they use music to celebrate, that's going to give you a deeper understanding of what that culture is like. Music is a form of expression. So music is known to allow one to express themselves, either by song or by a melody. They convey how they are feeling and how life is going for them. And then it also helps listeners to be able to listen and relate and find comfort in that music. And so by examining lyrics, we can view the culture and what the society was like. I've told you this before, but I teach a class at Gateway on it's the history and sociology of rock music, and we look at 1940s, 50s, all the way to present day. And it's such a fun class. Even though it's not multicultural, it is still a culture and a society that we're looking at through the lens of music. And so we start out with the blues music, and we look at how society has deep roots in racism and how the culture existed, and how the blues artists would write, and their pain and their lyrics show what they were experiencing. And it's just a really, really cool class. My favorite is getting into the 60s, where we look at protest music and really diving deep into the lyrics. So a great way to understand any kind of culture, any kind of society, is to examine their music and not just listen to it, but actually pull out the lyrics, read through them, see what they're expressing. You know, if it's a culture that's not in a native tongue, then you want to find a language or find the translation of that language there and really try to understand what they are saying and what they are going through. Music allows us to dance. So music prompts every culture to dance and express themselves with movement. You're going to see some cultures be more expressive than others when it comes to dancing. Again, when I think of more tribal type cultures, they use dancing all the time to, to ask for rain from their gods, or just a lot of times it also has to do with their religion. But music will, because of the way they dance and stuff, that's going to give you an even deeper understanding of what their culture and what their society is like. Music is continuing to evolve. So music, in any culture, in any society, it never stays stagnant, and it continues to change and transform with each time period. And like I said before, when I'm teaching this class at Gateway, when we started in the 1940s, music then and music today is so different, yet it comes from the exact same roots. And so we get to look at how it has changed and evolved over time. And again, when you're looking at other cultures, that's the same thing you want to do. You want to take that culture and their music and see how it has changed throughout history. Music is an art form. This creative outlet allows individuals to share themselves with the world. It can create unity, and it can make others feel inspired. So just using music as an outlet there for those in the society that are creative, it really does help us to understand them better. Music is very intimate. Music is incredibly intimate and allows artists to convey a message or emotion that they may not be able to communicate otherwise. They may not be able to use their words, and so it reveals a deeper part of who they are by using music. Music is a form of communication. So this one is extremely important. A lot of people don't understand how music is really important for communication. So many people struggle with communication, but can convey how they feel with maybe a song. Music makes it easier to express oneself without having that fear or that intimidation. And the cool thing about music is it doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, whether you even speak the same language as somebody. You can sit down and enjoy music together. You can make music together. without even speaking a word. So it's a great form of communication, it's a great form of connection. Every culture can agree that music is an important part of their life. By examining music from other cultures, it's easier to relate to one another. So with that being said, you're going to watch a video that I picked out, Aboriginal Prophecies, Music and Culture. And so now the one thing I do want to make note that it is a high school classroom that we are watching, and so that's going to be a little different than an elementary setting, but there's a lot of ideas and thoughts and the way that they use music that you could transfer into an elementary classroom. So I felt like this video was still a good thing to watch, even though these are not the age of the students that you would be teaching. But as you're watching this, I want you to think about a couple things. Why is music, or why is it important for students to clearly know their learning targets? So they're going to talk about learning targets when it comes to a piece of music that they're putting together, about their culture. And so why is it important? And then something else is, how does this project integrate music, history, culture, and self-identity? There's lots of things being covered with this project that they do in this video. So think about those things. How is it putting that all together? And then the teacher says that often teachers are going to come to class with a teaching agenda, and they aren't open to learning. And so when he gets to that part in the video, think about, what does that mean? What does he mean by that? What should teachers be coming to class? I mean, we think we should come to class because we are going to teach, but that's not what he's saying to do. He's saying to come to class with a more of an open mind. And so when he talks about that, think about what exactly he means, and try to go over your mind as a teacher how you can apply that to yourself when you go into your classroom. All right, and the last thing I want to talk about is what is expected of the cultural holiday presentation. So like I said before, this is a bigger project. It's going to take a little bit more time, so that's why I went ahead and eliminated the article and the quiz with the article. This one, I don't want to stress you out by any means. I know we're all going a little crazy, and I'm sure you have lots of classes to get to. So my presentation doesn't need to be super duper long, but I want you to kind of pick a culture and a holiday that you would love to explore a little bit further. And so the objective of this assignment is just to help you with your future students explore other cultures and traditions from around the world. And we're doing this by exploring specifically a holiday and not just the broad an entire culture, because that could really get you lost. If I said, show me the culture of India, for instance, there's so much to talk about, and it's a vast amount of information, and where do you start and where do you end? And that would take a lot of time. So that's why we're picking specifically a holiday. So if you picked a holiday from India, that would make the information a little bit more concise and easier for you to pick out and explore. And so the point of this is to see how all students and everybody from around the world, how they're similar and how they're different by exploring these different holidays in these different cultures. And so it's going to broaden that student's awareness and understanding of the world around them. They're going to learn about holidays from around the world to help us celebrate those similarities and those differences. And of course, we see that all the time. We want students who aren't picking on other students because they're different. We want to celebrate those differences. We don't want everybody to be the same cookie cutter person. We want differences. Students will also learn about geography. So make sure that you put that in your presentation exactly where this holiday occurs. So if, let's again stick with India, let's say this is a holiday that's happening in India, we would want to make sure we have a picture of India and where it's at in the world, so students can learn about that specifically. And they'll also probably learn things like all countries don't have all 4 seasons, or celebrate certain holidays in the wintertime. Not all places are going to look exactly the same in the world. And so the funny thing is, many students are going to be completely shocked by this, that not every place does things the exact same way that we do. We do get kind of in a bubble here in America where we think that the world revolves around us, and that's just not the case. And so going into other cultures is probably one of the best things that you can do, but unfortunately not everybody has the money to be able to travel around the world to see other cultures. I will tell you from my personal perspective, I've been to Haiti, which is a third world country, and I have got to work with orphans, and it's just so poor, but their existence is not sad and depressing. They don't have. I find it funny. We're sitting here in a quarantine. I'm talking to my computer right now. I've been watching movies on Netflix and Disney Plus, and you know, getting still take warm showers and eat. My fridge is stocked and I get to eat. And I have been to Haiti, so I try to keep into perspective what it's like even in quarantine. Even when I get a little sad that I can't get out of the house, but that, you know, I've been to Haiti and those kids, they have nothing. They are lucky if they have one meal a day, much less 3 meals or a refrigerator full of food. Those kids are lucky if they shower once a week. They are, I mean, it's just crazy how everyone is poor. There's no middle class. It's the very, very rich, and then majority people are extremely poor there. And so coming from America, where we don't really see the difference between I would say even our poor in America are rich to those in Haiti. So looking at that culture is from a completely different way. But I will tell you, when I was there, they were all happy and excited, and they loved to sing, and they loved to dance, and they loved to share with us while we were there. So it's a really great experience. If you ever get a chance to do something like that, I highly recommend it. I've also been to other cultures like Brazil, which can be just as poor and just as third world. I was not in that position when I was there. I was actually touring Brazil with my college jazz band, and got to experience things from a completely different aspect. But regardless of what culture you're looking at, you want students to understand how different it is around the world, and to not only understand that, but to appreciate those differences. And have a deeper understanding of what other people are like. So with all that being said, let's talk about something here. What I want you to do is I want you to create a PowerPoint or Prezi type of presentation that I am going to hit play on and watch and listen to. Okay, I don't want to have to read. Okay, and we'll talk about that a little bit more here. But you need to create some sort of PowerPoint that you can hit play, and you will have recorded your voice in your lecture. And so you want to pick a culture outside of an American Western culture. So we're not going to have Christmas, we're not going to have Easter to look at here, because those are all cultures and holidays that we're familiar with. But suggestions for holidays that you may want to dive a little bit deeper into: Bastille Day. Christmas is fine if you're going to look at it from another country. How does another country celebrate it? Do they celebrate it differently in Germany? Do they celebrate it differently in India? You know, Christmas is fine as long as you're looking at it from a different culture that's not a Western American culture. Diwali, Dia das los Muertos. I can't even say that. I have a hard time saying that, but that is the movie Coco is based off of that. You know, Vasik, Cinco de Mayo, Ramadan. So those are just a few suggestions. Don't feel like you have to go with one of these. You can pick one that I had not listed here, but you may pick one of those cultures, holiday cultures there. And then what I want you to do is have a short introduction to the holiday, maybe explain it a little bit, give us some background. Of course, each holiday is going to vary why they do that. So, and any history that the audience is going to need to know to understand that holiday and understand that culture, that society further. And like I said, if you decide to pick something like Christmas, so like say you pick Christmas in Germany, go ahead and highlight the differences between the way Germany celebrates Christmas, the way we celebrate Christmas, okay? And make sure that they're seeing there is a difference there. Now, this is the big part because this is a music class. I want you to include at least 2 songs. It doesn't have to have text in it, but if it does have text, please put up the text or a translation of the text and explain the meaning of the words and how they're related to that holiday. If there's no text and you're using a song that maybe they dance to or whatever, give an explanation of how that song or that music is used in their culture in that holiday. So the idea here is to make your presentation, put lots of pictures and visuals up, possibly put videos in. I will tell you, if as far as like playing some of your musical examples, if you do hit play, you may have to go maybe a couple of seconds on it. Be very careful, especially if you're going to load this up to YouTube, because we do have to fight some copyright issues. It's fine to put a link to the videos like I do when I've been doing the last couple of weeks, where I have supplemental videos underneath my main lecture video, and you have to click those links. That's fine to do it that way. You could just say, click the link for this video and listen to this song. That way you're not using up all of your time listening to songs on your video, and also keeps you from getting hit with a copyright mark on YouTube, and then I'm gonna have to ask you to reload up your video because I can't, because they'll put it on silent or block it if that's the case. The other thing is, when you're doing your slides, do not get too wordy on each slide. I don't want you reading the slide to me. All right, that can be a little on the boring side. So when you're teaching, especially with young students, they're going to zone out if you're just going to read straight off the slide. That's probably one of my biggest pet peeves when we do the peer teachings in class. And granted, we only did one peer teaching and you didn't even get to see the comments I gave back to you. But when you write all of your material on the slide and then you just read it, I mean, I can read. I want you to explain it and talk about it. And so, you know, show pictures, make people interested, that they want to listen and they want to hear. If it's just a bunch of text, students are going to just zone out and they're not going to pay attention. So use your slides to highlight pictures, highlight specific words or specific concepts, and then go ahead and lecture to us a little bit or talk about what is going on. What I want you to do is you're going to record a voiceover of your presentation. Now, this is what I am doing currently right now. I am currently recording this lecture. And what I do is I put it all on a PowerPoint, and then I hit the record and I start talking to you and I start doing my lecture live, and then I save it, and I'll save it as, instead of saving it as just a regular PowerPoint, I save it as an MP4, and that makes it a video, and then I can take that video and upload it to YouTube. I hope that most of you are pretty tech savvy at this point. You're in that generation that should be tech savvy. If you have any questions, I can try to help you the best I possibly can. You're probably more tech savvy than I am, or definitely call on your friends from your class to help you. How did they do it? How did they get the video up? That type of thing. Your presentations do not need to be extremely long. On the short side would be about 2 minutes. That may be a little too short, but if you have like links to videos like for your music, it may end up being shorter. And I think roughly 5 minutes is a good amount of time, whether it's a little bit shorter or a little bit longer, but please do not exceed 10 minutes. I do have close to 60 students I'm going to have to watch, and so beyond 10 minutes it's going to be a lot of grading for me, and so go ahead and keep it on the shorter side. I don't have a problem if you want to just give us the summary of things instead of getting extremely detailed. You can save your video and upload it to YouTube. You can do Google, you can do a presentation, whatever you're most comfortable with, feel free to do. And then like normal, you're going to start your own thread on the discussion post. You're going to list the holiday and the culture that you choose, and then leave a link to your presentation. And then if you do have supplemental videos, you can include those below. And of course, this is going to be due on Thursday by midnight, so that way it'll give you 24 hours to then go through at least 5 of your classmates' presentations and watch their presentation. And the commenting is going to be a little bit different this time around. I want you to watch 5 of your classmates' videos, and then leave 3 comments of things that you learned about this culture or this holiday that you didn't know. Okay, so that way it's very clear that you've watched, you've understood, you looked at things. So anyway, that will be due on Friday at midnight. All right, guys, if you have any questions, please let me know. Give me a contact, call me, feel free to text me, call me, whatever you need to do. I still am trying to get on check email every day, but sometimes it ends up being a day or two, especially since I have 3 kiddos and 2 of which are also being homeschooled at the same time. So sometimes I do get a little lost on what I have to get done. So please make sure to reach out to me. I have had a lot of you reach out to me about the rondos, and I have no problem sitting down and working on things with you or through you. And we've come up with creative ways to get that material back to you. So I even made a few videos of me talking through your rondo and sending it back over text. So there's all different things that we can do. All right, have a wonderful week. And if you have any questions, please let me know.